a lot of yours is face-to-face networking, meeting, building that trust, right? And
Definitely.
Taking it forward.
There is a real need, I think, now more than ever for that trusted media product.
The more you you're helping out, the better the outcome will be in your own personal life as well.
Definitely.
Pressure's a privilege, right?
So fun has got to be at the absolute heart of everything. Like, I don't want to sound like a cliche, but I just seized that moment and just went for it.
Isaac, thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on for the BizzFest podcast. So obviously last year you attended BizzFest, which we're gonna get to in a bit, because I'm really curious to see what your experience was like, and why you were there, what you achieved when you were there, and what's happened afterwards. Would be really, really great. But obviously, just tell us a bit about yourself and your sort of business life journey, I suppose.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. My name's Isaac Crowston. I'm a journalist by trade. Been a journalist now for 14 years. I was a journalist for 11 years, sort of found myself in a job that I enjoyed, but wanted to have a bit of a break, wanted to do something different, handed my notice in, started a business a couple of days later, basically.
Bloody hell. And what was the key catalyst for that then? Was there like a moment at work where you just went, oh, that's it? Or not really? Or was it just...
So there was a promotion that I tried to get that I didn't get. And it just sort of like reevaluated my thoughts a bit, and I thought, what do I want to do? And it was just a break. I was just getting this feeling that just do something different, just literally do something different. And it really went from there. It's been an amazing and fantastic journey, really.
Brilliant. And then within that, do you, just quickly, whilst I'm thinking about that, was there, when you made that big decision to sort of go out on your own, is there a part of you that wish you'd done it earlier, or was the timing perfect, do you feel, or done it later?
I think the timing was perfect.
Right.
I don't know if I would have been able to have done it earlier. I think it just had to be at that moment in time. I had to have the experience behind me. I had to have the confidence, I think. And I was loving the job, absolutely loving it. But at that moment in time, I just thought, this has got to change. I want to do something different. So I just sort of, I don't want to sound like a cliche, but I just seized that moment and just went for it. And obviously there was a lot of fear, and I know you spoke about fear on the last podcast and that sort of thing. But I just thought, I've just got to go and do this. What's to lose? What is literally to lose? Yeah,
that's exactly it. And I think fear is a good thing. And I think I was chatting to a friend of mine, James Martin, the other day, and he was talking about how pressure is a privilege, right? So, and I think it's a case of taking that pressure on. And I always look at pressure and things like putting rocks in a rucksack. So it's nice to have like a full rucksack when you go for a walk, but you don't want it filled with like 2 ton of rocks. But equally, you don't want to be light as a feather. You want to get that optimum level of like stress and pressure and momentum and stuff like that. So you saying that you've done that just at the opportune time, I think is amazing. So how did that journey go then? So you left your job and then what? Started a business following day, or
left the job on the Friday. Thursday was my last day of that week, and so I'm a journalist. I sort of do stories, sell content, and I started getting stories in that Sunday. So literally, it was left the job that night, started the next morning. Got all the company set up on Company's House and all of that, all the admin, got an account, and they did all that, and I just cracked on. It was really a baptism of fire, basically. I got a lot of people, I remember, coming up to me like, how are you going to, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? And, how are you going to pay your bills? I said, I'm going to have to work, aren't I? Like, how are you going to get up in the morning? Well, I'm going to have to, because I'm going to have to pay my bills. It's like one of those things. I'm just going to have to do it.
Fear is a good driver, isn't it? You sort of feel like mortgages coming out.
Exactly.
I've got to go to work, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they said. I remember someone saying, how are you going to be motivated to get out of bed in the morning? I was like, well, I'm going to have to keep that bed on. I'm going to have to keep this roof over my head. Like, it's not going to come for free.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. And fear, like you say, fear is a great thing in a way. Can't be ruled by it.
Yeah.
Else I'd never do anything. And I don't think that necessarily goes away. Like the fears I've probably got now 3 years in are a bit different to what it was like at the start. But there's still that feeling of like, okay, what if this week doesn't, what if, and all that what if, and you've just got to sort of crack on, I think.
Yeah, exactly right. No, make you right. And that was definitely one of the things at BizzFest in terms of, you've got that fear of building an event and building a company and a brand that no one knows about. And then, one of the things that we struggled with at the start was trying to sell it to people.
Right.
You're selling something that doesn't exist. Did you have that challenge as well in terms of obviously starting a new company? Did you face that?
A little bit. So I'm obviously in the media industry. There's been, like in every industry, loads of changes over the last few years with the rise of the internet and all sorts of social media and stuff, and sort of traditional, what seemed as traditional, people say, oh, is that dying out, and that sort of thing. I knew there was still a market for it, and I just knew it had to be done a bit different, a bit nimbler, and it sort of grew from there, really. So it started off with just me Literally, I just wanted to work. I just needed to earn a living, and then it's grown into a small team of people at a wider geographical area, and gone from there. And I mean, I started 14 years ago, and there was people in those days saying, "Oh, it's not like it used to be. Journalism, the media, it's not like it used to be in my day."
Yeah.
And now, 14 years on, you've got people saying, "Oh, it's not like it was 5 years ago. It's not," and it's always going to be like that.
It's always going to change and move.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
business,
And there's always going to be those naysayers and that negativity. And that's one of the things why I wanted to start a business and left my job. I didn't want to become one of those people that just sit there moaning about what it used to be like. That's not me.
That's not you. Yeah.
I just wanted to get rid of that and try something. If it failed, it was going to fail, but it didn't, thankfully it didn't.
Doing all right.
It went from there,
So what about your relationship with your past employee then? Was that like an easy transition to make? Or like...
Yeah, it was fine. All very amicable. I loved where I worked, and but it was just time for a change, basically.
Yeah. That's really great as well, because you find a lot of people that have, like Ben, that was on the previous one, he had the same sort of thing. It was like almost like a golden handshake in terms of like, go on, go off into the wild and do what you need to do, give it a try. And I think that's brilliant as well, especially from an employee mindset and employer mindset, where you could be like, you've learned some things, tried some things. I want to go implement them by myself, and just see how life goes, right?
Exactly.
So I just feel like I've had a few employees do that, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people look at it as a negative, when actually you think, well, it's life, right?
Yeah.
So you'd rather them do that than the opposite. So, no, that's good. So then, obviously, fast forward a little bit of time. So you started from like one-man band, like cracking on, and then what challenges did you face, like moving on from that, like within your first 12, 18 months?
So basically just the level of work.
Right.
So as soon as I sort of started to grow, as soon as I started to do more, it became sort of not a burden, but it was like, hang on a minute, like I'm going to either fall apart or I'm going to have to get a bit of help. Yeah. And there was that little bit of, it's been fear along the journey, and there's that little bit of fear, like, do I really want someone? What if that doesn't go well? What if they're better than me? What, all of this crazy stuff. And I just sort of forget that. I need a bit of help here. And we were talking, like, I had a car crash a couple of years ago, and it was quite a serious one. It was all fine, but that was the day that I was going to do a job later that day, and that was the first time I had to get some help. So I had to phone someone and say, "Can you cover this job for me? I'm in a bit of bother. Can you help me out?" And this person did. So actually, that quite negative, what was at the time quite a negative experience, sort of opened it up into something more, and it just went from there, really. And it's been brilliant, like a completely new challenge. I've never sort of managed anyone, never had employees or anything like that. And that's brought loads of brilliant opportunities, and then seeing them grow and develop, and has been absolutely fantastic.
It's, you do find out they talk it. Is it called a plumber change? There's a saying for it whereby you can be the best plumber in the world, right? So then all of a sudden you go, right, I'm going my own. Then you turn from a plumber to be like a business owner, and then you're an employer, and then you've got to manage people, manage time, manage expectations. Not just your own diary, and it's a completely different thing to sort of have to overcome and do, isn't it? Right? So then obviously fast forward 18 months or 2 years or whatever it was, then you come to BizzFest last September, didn't you?
Yes.
So how did you find that? How did actually, one interesting thing I want to pick your brain about is how did you even hear about it?
I think it was on LinkedIn.
Right, okay.
I think it was on LinkedIn, and I think it was Andy Coulson had shared something. Yeah. He was obviously one of the speakers who I think you interviewed, which I remember listening to.
Yeah, he's speaking again this year. So
brilliant. Cool, so that was fantastic. So I follow him, follow his podcast. I think I saw he shared it as a guest, had a look at it. And I was very insular. So journalists knew what I was doing. Yeah. Newspapers knew what I was doing, but I wasn't really talking to anyone outside of that sort of habitat, really. And I saw the stuff about, I knew by this point I needed a mentor. Yeah. Because I knew I needed a bit of help. Like I was doing only so much, and I thought I was getting up on a Monday, throwing everything at the wall with no real plan, no real idea, hoping for the best, seeing what stuck. Basically, I was saying shit at the wall, hoping, see what sticks at the end of the Friday, and then judging on what the week was. So I saw the bit about the Paddle Investor, and a bit like we were talking about, there was obviously fear around that. There's the critic that say, no one's going to want to help you. Like, why would and all that, and all of this sort of stuff. Never really spoke in public about myself or certainly about my business or about life in that environment. But I just thought it just looked good. It didn't look stuffy. Yeah. It didn't look like official. It didn't look like suits. Yeah. It didn't look like office blocks. It was like it is. It was a festival in a field, chilled out.
Like a suit with a sticker on.
Yeah, exactly. Like my name's exactly. My name's Isaac, and like robotically walking around, like that. It didn't feel like that. And I just felt like, you know what, I've got nothing to lose here. Why not just
have a go?
Yeah, exactly.
So it'd be interesting to see what it's like from your point of view in terms of that. So obviously the panel investor stage, for people that don't know about it, is a stage where people can come on, pitch their business, and then we'll have a load of mentors and business owners and entrepreneurs that sit in the stands, and then they can basically put up a paddle and say whether they want to give some time or give some money or both, right?
Yep.
So in terms of you then, how was that process for you as like the business owner? Like, how did you get on in terms of like filling the form, you know, and to getting on the stage?
Yep. So I saw it. I think we fill out our basic details.
Yep.
I think it was like 200, 300 word summary of what I was after. And then a quick sort of PowerPoint presentation of what I wanted to present that day. It was Steve Clark who came back and said, I'm managing, or he was sort of like MCing that part of the event. So I sent him a presentation, got a time and that sort of thing, did a bit of prep, read it to a few friends and stuff like that. I knew I was going to be after mentoring. So mentoring and time was sort of what I was sort of trying to get across. Presented in the stage. There was obviously those people at the front, quite a few people sort of listening in. And again, I just thought, I've just got to go and do this. What is that? Like, literally, I remember thinking, what is there to lose?
Yeah.
Like, as long as I don't stand up there and do anything ridiculous, which obviously, you know, like there's nothing to lose here. I'm growing. Whatever I'm doing, however it goes, it's a growing experience. And I'm never sat in on a stage, never presented in that. So I'm doing that. There's nothing to lose, basically. So I just went for it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? And obviously the setting that we had was like, I thought it was just awesome. To be honest with you. I would do anyway. Wouldn't I?
Yeah. But it's true.
But yeah,
it's true.
It was a cool setup. So we were really, really pleased with it, and we were really pleased with the process and the outcomes. And obviously, like the outcomes for you were like off the scale, weren't they? Really, in terms of that. So where did it go from? So you've done your pitch, and then literally walked off stage, and then what happened after that, basically?
So I remember got Steve's number. I remember chatting to a few people, got loads of business cards, numbers, exchange stories, that sort of thing. Left that day, kept in touch with quite a few people. I think the first person I got was, and there was a woman in the audience who was with another person pitching, a woman called Olivia who runs a sort of admin company. So she now does my accounts, basically.
Oh, wow.
So within about a week, I'd got a new sort of bookkeeper.
Yeah.
She's now doing my VAT, my accounts, paying people, all that sort of thing. Brilliant woman, really, really helpful, full of enthusiasm. Took a photo of me on stage and sent it me. We exchanged numbers. And I thought, this is, you know, she's gone out her way to help me out. So I had a good chat with her. And I said, look, I'm trying to do everything. And this was, I think, what I remember pitching. Like, at the minute, I am the administrator, I'm the journalist, I'm the editor, I'm the manager, I'm the boss, I'm the tea maker, I'm the whatever, doing all these sort of things. I need a bit of help, basically. So it's quite humbling to sit there, almost not vulnerable, but I was a bit like, look, this is what I've achieved. This is what it's doing. I need a little bit of help. And I got help.
That's
from
brilliant, isn't
BizzFest.
it? It just shows the power of being vulnerable, doesn't it? Like when you're open and honest, instead of it just being a cock off and standing
exactly.
there and going, oh, everything's brilliant. In fact, I don't know why I'm fucking standing up there. Life couldn't be any better.
Exactly.
You need to go, look, I've got these pain points. That's the whole reason I've come to BizzFest, because I need to find a solution for them, right? So then off the back of that, obviously, then Steve contacted you, did he not? Or you contacted Steve?
Yep. So I kept in touch with Steve, and I think I dropped him a line a couple of months later, and I gave him a phone call, I think a text, we arranged a call, and I was like, I need someone's help. I need a bit of help. I need a bit of mentoring. You were there. You were great. What do you think? What do you suggest? Yeah. And he said, well, let's have a Zoom. Let's just have a quick Zoom. We'll have a sort of 15 minutes, see where we are, which we did. And it went from there, really. And he's now my mentor.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? So then how often do you speak to him now?
So a couple of times a month.
Right.
So we have quite good in-depth conversations, sort of like 2 or 3 Zooms a month. He's always available on text. He's always there for a phone call if I need him. And he's just brilliant. Yeah. He's absolutely brilliant. I think he sort of knew where I was coming at it. I was very honest with him, and like you're absolutely right. It's just about honesty, isn't it?
Otherwise, there's zero point.
Yeah,
literally pointless of having any of those conversations until you're open and honest with someone and go, you know, this is where I am,
exactly,
you know, and this is why I'm here, type thing.
Exactly.
So that's really brilliant. Steve he's a great guy. He's a great sort of a guy for BizzFest as well. He's helped us out loads, and he's just super intelligent as well. And his business background is off the scale. So you've
struck gold. gold.
Yeah, big time. Yeah,
Yeah. Brilliant. It's
yeah, he's
brilliant.
a great guy. So then, in terms of what is your sort of the next bit of your career and journey looking like now? Like, what are the next big steps that you need to try and achieve?
So on the back of like BizzFest transformed my business, fantastic. And what I've got now with Steve is quarterly goals.
Yeah.
So running throughout the year, I've got a proper business plan. He's holding me account to that. Got growth goals throughout the rest of the year. And basically it's so I've got a great journalism side. So you've got guys who, we've got a team of reporters, we're covering stories, breaking news, chaos, drama, all that sort of stuff. And there's plenty of it in society at the moment. It's obviously
So what sort of, is that the main sort of stories that you cover then? Sorry, I'd sort of skip past that bit. So is it mainstream?
Yeah. So we work for everyone from the Mail, Daily Mail, Mail Online, Telegraph, GB News, everyone basically, the Mirror. Right across basically every national publication.
And that's obviously where Andy Coulson comes in then, right?
Yes, yeah. From his journalism background and stuff. And then what we've started to do, and this is where Steve's been brilliant, is sort of expand into communications.
Right.
So we're doing media training for businesses who might be struggling or might need a bit of help, or PR companies, communications companies who need a bit of journalistic help, a bit of a push in the right direction, or sort of journalist's hand, a journalist's brain and stuff like that. So that's sort of going off as well, which Steve and everyone's been brilliantly helpful at.
So in terms of that, with the company growth and what you're doing on a day to day, like how important is it? Like how important are relationships and people and face to face activities? It's not just like you've got you're selling this book and it's just on Amazon. You're just getting rid of loads of them every day. You don't really see anyone or speak to anyone or do anything. Obviously, I feel like you could be like polar opposite to that. Is that right?
Yeah, completely. It's all about people.
Yeah,
it's all about people. Throughout the whole thing, isn't it? Like it's about meeting people, coffees, catching up, dinners, that sort of stuff, and just getting to know people.
So a lot of yours is face to face networking, meeting, building those relationships, building that trust, right? And
definitely
taking it forward.
And I knew some of the people before I launched the business from my old job, but got to know them obviously a lot better.
Yeah.
New people come along. It's been 3 years now, and always looking for new clients, always looking for people. So I got a new accountant from BizzFest. I got a mentor from BizzFest, and I also got a client and did a bit of speaking work for someone who was there.
Wow.
So that was brilliant. So it's the power of face to face, the power of just, I think, like you said, being vulnerable, telling people exactly what's going on, no bullshit, just this is what I'm doing. I think I'm doing this right, but I'm not doing that right. I need a bit of help in that. I need a bit of help in that. And it just works.
Yeah, and it's especially being around those like-minded people, right? Because then by default, you get that instantaneous sort of outcome in conversation, don't you? Because you know that you're talking to the right people in the right environment about the right stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of, as you say, like the polar opposite to that, being standing in the Excel with a name badge on, just thinking, Jesus Christ, like this is just the most horrific day of my life.
Absolutely.
What have I got for lunch? And then I'm going to go home. Checking the train times all day. That sort of thing. Whereas I think what we're doing, well, I know what we're doing. We're building an environment where time sort of stands still, really. You get to the end of the day, bloody hell, where did that go?
Yeah, definitely.
And you want those environments because you're going to get the best outcomes from them, aren't you, really? Well, you're sort of living proof of that, which is wicked. So I'm really pleased with it.
Yeah, no, thank you.
So off the back of that then, so have you got, obviously Steve's helped you with your goals. What is have you got like 3-5 year goal? Are you sort of pushing
got
towards
end of year goal, which obviously got revenue goals, client goals, sort of trying to expand into a larger part of Britain. Right. So it started off, I'm from Dartford, it started off literally South East London, Kent. We're now sort of able to go up to East Anglia, Norwich, Ipswich. We did a job in Wales the other day. And the demand is there, the demand for news, the demand for coverage, the demand for boots on the ground, proper traditional journalism is there. And I keep getting, it's not what it used to be. People are doing less of that. What I found is the demand is there. You've just got to provide it. You've just got to...
What is less of that? So what would be the alternative that people are saying? Instead of boots on the ground, what is the alternative that someone might go, we're doing more of that now?
Well, what I'm really, and I sort of talked about this, is very passionate about journalism, like proper journalism, boots on the ground, speaking to real people, getting behind the story. Everyone these days is saying they're a journalist, and I get that everyone's got the ability to post stuff on social media and that sort of stuff. But what I'm very, very passionate about, I remember getting very passionate about it last year at BizzFest, is almost defending journalism. Right. I don't think we, as an industry, as a journalist industry, do that well enough to say, actually, all the major scandals in Britain in the last few years, MPs' expenses, the reason why we've just lost another prime minister, all of the stuff around Andrew, Mountbatten, Windsor, all of that has come from dogged, proper journalism. Like trained, trusted journalism. People who have done it and got experience of it, not just some guy on TikTok who's sort of waving his camera around saying this. And the era of like fake news and all of that, like that, there is a real need, I think, now more than ever for that trusted media product, which
I suppose, especially with AI kicking in as well, you're going to get even more. That's going to accelerate that even more, right?
Completely.
Because we're talking a lot about AI slop now, and that's going to be in news as well, right?
Oh,
so
massively.
People's going to be making stuff up to try and profit from it. So by default, you're then going to be turning towards the people that just do things right.
Exactly.
And you go, right, actually, I'm going to trust this, and that can go away.
Exactly.
So for you, if anything, AI is an accelerator for your business, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think, like I say, like you've just got to, it's got to be that trusted version. AI is very like, I don't know what the word is, good or very convincing in a way. I've seen videos and it's like, and then it's like, hang on, no, that's not real. That's too good to be true.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous. It's very dangerous for society that this stuff, we're all scrolling these days and people are getting like, wound up about stuff on all sides and some of it's not real. And some of it's not real. Well, I think we need to adapt. We need to realise as an industry that that's where people are getting their news now. It is social media, it is that sort of stuff. You can't change that. You can't fight that. We've just got to, I think, just be better as an industry at saying we're the trusted guys because of this, and that's why.
Yeah, and I think that's a great angle for you in terms of like a USP in it, right? So by default, you sort of go, well, you could trust us.
Yeah.
Like the golden stamp.
Yeah.
So we are who we are. We've been around for a while now. We've got a good solid team. We know where we're going.
Yeah.
We can come see you. All of those sort of things. Whereby,
exactly.
And we're finding that, and that's the whole thing about BizzFest, and that's exactly what it is, like seeing people face to face.
Yeah.
And building that trust element. We've got it on all of my companies are all face to face, really.
Yeah.
And we just feel like you can get a long way just being nice and honest, kind of. You know, and I think if you just keep doing that, you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
It's just the people that are, hiding behind a website or they're selling a product that might not be quite good, and you think, and you've got like the AI sort of, adverts sort of, and we're finding a lot of things that what we're doing within Capture House now. We're building a lot of content for companies that might have used AI at one point.
Okay.
And now they're looking at it and going, this is rubbish, and people are actually taking adverts down because if you're using AI, it's almost given an element of like distrust.
Yeah.
So that it's quite interesting, isn't it? So it's exactly the same thing as what you might see on LinkedIn. You see someone's LinkedIn post and you go, God, that's ChatGPT.
Yeah.
You just swipe past that, Whereas if someone's like what we're reverting back to, open, vulnerable, honest, and they just go, that is exactly what it is, that's what my life is. So I think it's really, really interesting to sort of look at and do.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
This year, you coming to BizzFest this year? You going to come along?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
definitely.
brilliant.
Really excited for it. It'll be really brilliant. It's not even, it's like it's not a stuffy business event. I think I'll have more confidence this year. I remember last year fearing like, going on stage and that. But I think this year I'll be hopefully a bit more relaxed. I was relaxed last year, but obviously a bit more relaxed and just really looking forward to it, meeting people. And there's that great bit about like networking. I learned more, networking. You learn more about just doing it. Yeah. And it's not really networking in a way, is it? You think networking is people coming up to you saying, this is who I am, this is what I do.
Yeah, do you want this?
Yeah. Sign on the line and sell. It's not, is it? It's just, oh, who are you? What are you here? Oh, how was your journey? This is good, isn't it? A cup of tea, do you want a coffee?
I love it.
That
and
sort of
do you
stuff.
know what? I love all that because you might, like for me, I might be thinking to myself, right, journalist, like I was a journalist. And in my brain, I go, do I need him? No, I don't. But I tell you what, a guy that I met the other day, like, Benny, he might need it. And you go, oh, you should definitely give him a call. And all those sort of things. And all it does is just keep building and building and building. And it's give us gain, right? So I just feel like the more you sort of, you're helping out, the better the outcome will be in your own personal life as well.
Definitely. And I've learned that if you're picking stuff up and you think, oh, probably not for me, but it might be for him. And then you're all helping each other, innit? Like, it's connection. I've learned more than anything in the last few years. It's just connections.
Yeah.
It's just connections and the right connections.
So within journalist life, because obviously it's a super, I feel like it's a serious working life. I might be totally wrong, but is there an element of fun and stuff to it? Is it a real laugh? Is it,
completely. Like it's hard, I call it, like, it's like serious fun. Right. In a way, if that makes sense. So it's, like you can't get stuff wrong.
Yeah.
You know, there's consequences if you make big mistakes. But it is just a great laugh. Like, it's fun. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't work as hard as we do. You know, we wouldn't work as hard as we do if it was not fun.
Yeah.
You know, fun has got to be at the heart of absolutely everything. In my career, I've dressed up as a lion for the last Euro, the Euro Championships in Italy. I had my hair bleached. When I had hair, I had it bleached blonde like Phil Foden.
Right.
I've done all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, I went to Ukraine and covered the war a couple of years ago. So fun has got to be at the absolute heart of everything.
I suppose you have to have like a positive, fun outlook on stuff, especially when you stand in the middle of a war. You know,
yeah,
you've got to
exactly.
sort of thinking,
Exactly. You know, like we sit there and you can hear like the most depressing at times stuff, you know, when people have done the worst things in the world that people can do to each other, and it is grim. So if you're not having a release, if you're not just having a laugh and enjoying the series and the fun stories and, you know, relaxing, if you're not doing that, it will just drive you insane, I think. Well, it would me anyway.
So what? So we'll sort of just wrap up on it. I think that's one of the, you know. So tell us, in terms of, what would be a good way to finish up? Let me think about something that's cool. So if we had to hold you accountable for something that you're going to achieve in like the next 12 months,
right.
what would that be? So if we sat down in this chair again, 12 months time,
right,
what would it be like? Oh, I definitely, this is going to happen. This is part of my life.
That's a very good question. I would say that's a very good question. I'd say obviously more clients, more revenue, a bigger business, but you're probably after a bit more than that.
Yeah, like a sort of like a number or a moment or like what would be like a top achievement, you know?
I think if some of the guys who I'm working with, so obviously, of course, like, you know, revenue goals and that sort of thing. But I'd want to, like, the guys who are working for me at the minute, if they can, and this is what I found, so they're starting, I've had, like, the other week, I had a holiday, a couple of months ago, I had my first holiday in 12, 13 years.
Bloody hell.
Needed it, like proper holiday. And they were able to run the business, and that was brilliant. If I can sort of have 2 weeks, this was probably maybe one, in a year's time, so in this time next summer, if I can have 2 weeks off, not just 1 week. And the business can run without me for 2 weeks, and they're doing it and they're smashing it like they did this year. That would be, I think, a goal.
I'll have to write it down.
Yeah.
I'll have to write it
down. I can have 2 weeks holiday.
Yeah,
2 week holiday.
Yeah,
exactly. And I come back and it's all handled and it's all brilliant. That would be, that's my goal, I think.
Sounds perfect. Well, anyway, thanks for coming along,
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Obviously, I'll see you in a couple of months.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, nice one.
Cheers, pal.
Brilliant. Cheers, Andy. Thank you.